working as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, University of Engineering and Technology, Texla. Power system planning is an intriguing research area for me. I would like to thank the IBcast organizing committee for providing me this platform to discuss a highly interesting topic of power flow on transmission lines. The purpose of this discussion is to understand the active and reactive power flow in the transmission lines under different scenarios. This is the outline of my talk. At first, I will introduce about the transmission lines and its various parameters that affect the flow of power on transmission lines. This will be followed by the general concept of power flow. Then I will present detailed discussion on the two types of power flow, which are real and reactive. After that, an in-depth explanation on simultaneous flow of active and reactive powers in transmission lines will be presented. And lastly, a brief summary of topic will be discussed. Introduction. Let us start with the transmission lines. What are transmission lines? Transmission lines connect electric power sources to electric power loads, which means that they connect the system's generators to its distribution substations, which are also known as the grid stations. Moreover, they also interconnect neighboring power systems. Since transmission power losses are proportional to the square of the load current by using the relation P is equal to I square R, therefore, high voltages in the range of 132 kilovolt to 760 kilovolt are generally used for transmitting the electrical power to minimize the losses. Parameters of transmission line. There are 4 parameters of transmission lines, that are resistance, inductance, capacitance, and conductance. Here the resistor is shown, this is the inductor, and this is the capacitor. 2 out of these parameters are series parameters, that is resistance and inductor are series parameter, while the capacitance and conductance are shunt parameters. The value of conductance is very small, therefore it is generally neglected. The opposition offered by this resistor to the flow of current is known as line resistance. The opposition offered by the inductor and the capacitor to the flow of the current is known as reactance, and it is represented with the help of XL and XC. The value of these parameters of transmission lines generally depends upon the length of the line, the conductor spacing, and the cross-sectional area of the conductor. The value of capacitance is generally neglected in case of short transmission lines, whereas it is considered as a lumped parameter in case of medium transmission lines, while it is considered as a distributed parameter along the whole line for long transmission lines. Now we will discuss a bit more detailed explanation about these parameters of the transmission line. First of all, resistance. Resistance is a property of a material that opposes current flow, causing real power or watt losses due to I square heating. So here this figure clearly indicates how this resistance, which is named as ohm, is actually opposing or hindering the path of the current flow. The line resistance, this line resistance is dependent upon the material of the conductor, again the cross-sectional area and the length of the conductor. In a purely resistive circuit, current and voltage are in phase. Therefore, the instantaneous power equaling the product of the two. Now, reactance. Reactance is the opposition to current caused by capacitors and inductors, as we have already discussed in the previous slides. Reactance causes current to be out of phase with the voltage. Not only reactance opposes the flow of the current as the resistance do, moreover, it also makes the current and voltage phases out of phase. And this out of phase between current and voltage occur depending upon either it is inductive reactance or it is a capacitive reactance. In case of inductive reactance, this is the inductive circuit shown in the figure. In case of inductive reactance, the inductive reactance causes the current to lag the voltage, and it is represented or shown in this figure as well. How we have known that in this figure the current is lagging the voltage? This is an important question. So let me explain this thing here. It is very simple. If the current waveform, which is represented here with the help of dashed lines, and the voltage waveform, it is represented with the help of blue color. Now, if this current waveform reaches its maximum position, which is 90-degree angle, later than the voltage waveform, then it means that the current is lagging the voltage. Now, how? There in this figure you can easily see that the voltage waveform reaches its maximum position before the current waveform. Therefore, the current is lagging the voltage, and it is clearly indicated in this figure as well. Now, in the case of capacitive reactance, the capacitive reactance causes the current to lead the voltage. And here it is a pure capacitive circuit shown in the figure, and this figure actually demonstrating how the current is leading the voltage waveform. So this red dashed line waveform, which is representing the current, it is reaching its maximum of 90-degree angle before this voltage waveform. So this voltage waveform is reaching its maximum angle later than the current waveform, or the current waveform is reaching its maximum position before the voltage waveform, Therefore, we can say that in this case, the current is leading the voltage. So, loads containing the purely inductive or the purely capacitive circuits cause the current to be exactly 90° out of phase with the voltage. Here in this case, as we can see that both the circuits are, one is purely inductive and the other one is the purely capacitive. So in case of purely inductive circuit, the current is lagging with the voltage with completely 90°, exactly 90°. And similarly, here in this figure, current is leading the voltage exactly 90°. Now, few more things about the inductive and capacitive reactance. Inductive and capacitive reactance depend again upon the conductor cross-sectional area, conductor length, distance between the phase conductors. The distance between the phase conductor is a more or important point here. Inductive reactance decreases as the cross-sectional area of the conductor increases and increases as the conductor spacing increases. Whereas the capacitive reactance increases as the cross-sectional area of the conductor increases and decreases as the conductor spacing increases. So it means almost both are inverse to each other. That is, one increases, one parameter increases, the other one is the decreases, and when the other one decreases, the other parameter, the one of the inductive or capacitive reactance increases. So it means they both are opposite to each other. Now let us look at what is power flow. Megawatt flow on transmission facility is the result of resistive component. So this resistive component is responsible for the megawatt flow on the transmission line. Therefore, we can say that real power is measured in watts and is in phase with the load. Whereas the VAR flow on the transmission line is the result of the reactive component. A VAR supplies magnetizing current for inductive loads and charging current for the capacitive loads. As you know that the real power flow between two buses is obtained by the following relation. PR is equal to sending end voltage multiplied by receiving end voltage divided by reactance multiplied by sine of delta, where this P represents the real power in megawatt, Vs represents the sending end voltage, VR represents the receiving end voltage, X represents the reactance of the line, and delta angle between both voltages, between the sending end voltage and the receiving end voltage. The value of this angle delta can be maximum of up to 90°, and it should be between 0 to 90°, and it should not, the value of delta should not increase more than 90°. Real power flow. In real power flow, we have to basically clear one more concept, that there is a difference between two representation of the angle. One is the theta and the other one is the delta. Angle theta is the symbol for the angle difference between the current and voltage. This thing should be kept in the mind, and you should be very clear that angle theta is nothing but it is a symbol for the angle difference between the current and the voltage, and it is used in determining power factor, indicating the portion of the total current and voltage that is producing real power. Whereas angle delta is the symbol for phase angle difference between the sending and receiving end voltage. Negative megawatts indicate flow into the sending bus, whereas the positive megawatts indicate flow out of the sending bus. So if you can see here, these are the megawatts and these are the watts. flowing on the line. Again, this arrow is represented the megawatt flow on the line, and this arrow with the dash line on it representing the watts flowing on the line. This power that is flowing outwards from the bus, it will be represented with the positive sign, and this power, megawatt power, which is entering a bus number 2, it will be represented with the help of negative sign. So when we will add these two powers, this will result in the calculation of the power loss of the whole line, which is around 8.5 in this case. So this statement is actually explaining this thing. Now, further concept about this angle theta and delta. Here, this figure diagram is indicating that the angle delta is between the receiving and the sending end voltage, that is V and VB of this whole system, which is on one side there is source and on the other side it is load. Whereas this angle theta is this is the angle between the voltage and the current, and of the angle theta represented with the angle theta. Now let us understand the flow of real power on the transmission line with the help of two examples. Here it is, the first example. The voltage at bus A is 522 kilovolt at an angle of minus 15 degree. The voltage at bus B is 518 kilovolt at an angle of minus 18 degrees. Total impedance of transmission lines path between the buses is 50 ohms, that is X is 50 ohms. What is A, the real power flow, and what is its direction? So now we will see the solution of this problem. Here it is the solution of the problem. We will apply, because we have to calculate the real power flow. Therefore, we have applied the formula for real power flow, which is PR is equal to VAVB divided by X multiplied by sine delta. By putting the value of VA from here, the voltage at the bus A 522 kilovolt, then putting the value of VB, the value of the voltage at bus B, divided by the reactance 50 sine delta. And what is this delta? This delta, sine delta, is basically the angle difference between the value of the voltage at the two buses. So the angle of voltage at the bus number 1 is minus 15 degree and at bus number 2 is minus 18 degree. Whereas this delta in the formula, it represents the angle difference between the angle A and angle B, delta A minus delta B. So delta A minus delta B here is equal to delta, which is equal to minus 15 degree minus of minus 18 degree. So minus 15 plus 18 is equal to sine of 3 degree. So when we solve this with the help of calculator, we will end up with 283 megawatt. So the value of the real power is 283 megawatt. As this value of real power is positive, this indicates that the power flow is from bus number A, which is also indicated as a reference bus. The power flow is from bus number A to bus B. Now there is another example. Calculate the real power and its direction of flow using the following information. Again, we have to calculate the real power and its direction of flow using the following information. Bus A voltage is 235 kilovolt at an angle of minus 23 degree with a power factor of 0.79. Whereas the bus B voltage is 237 kilovolt at an angle of minus 21 degree with a power factor of 0.85, sorry. And the total impedance of the transmission line is 45 ohms. Now, the value of voltage magnitude is higher at bus number B. The value of voltage magnitude is lower at bus number A. The angle is more lagging at bus number A and the angle is less lagging at bus number B. Now, as we know that the active power flow is dependent upon the angle or the angle difference between the voltages of the two buses. Therefore, in case of calculation of active power and its direction, we have to pay our attention towards the angles. Now, what is the solution of this problem? Again, using the same relation of PR is equal to VA/VB divided by X sine delta, putting the values of VA, VB, X and delta, where delta is the difference between the two angles, minus 23 minus of minus 21 degree. Now, when we have done it, we knew that minus 23 plus 21 degree is equal to minus 2, sine minus 2 is equal to minus 0.0349, multiplying these two values 1237.6 multiplied by minus 0.0349 result into 43.2 megawatts. So the megawatt flow on the line is 43.2 megawatts. However, the sign with the megawatt flow is negative. What does this mean? This means that the flow of power is not from bus A to bus B. The flow of power is from bus B to bus A. Now, why the flow of power is from bus B to bus A? This is because the angle of bus B is less lagging than the angle of bus A. Therefore, as the angle B, the angle of voltage at bus B is less lagging than and the angle of bus A, therefore, the flow of power will be from B to A. If the angle of voltage at bus A is more lagging, I mean to say, less lagging than angle B, then the flow of the power will be from bus A to bus B. I hope this concept is clear to you. Now we will continue with reactive power flow. Reactive power flow on transmission line is a result of inductive reactance of load requirement and is obtained by the relation PQ is equal to Vs multiplied by delta V divided by X cos delta. Here it is very important to know that or keep this thing in your mind that here it is not VR, it is delta V, and this delta V is basically the difference between the sending end voltage and the receiving end voltage, and instead of sine, in case of reactive power we have cos delta. Q represents the reactive power in megawatt, Vs is the sending end voltage, delta V is the difference between bus voltage, X is the line impedance, and delta is the again angle difference between the sending end voltage and the receiving end voltage. Now, few more points about reactive power flow. Was flow only if there is a difference in the bus voltage potential. So it is important to know that the megawatt flow on the line if there is an angle difference, and the reactive power flow on the line or the watts flow on the line if there is a difference in the magnitude of the voltage. If there is no difference between the magnitude of the two voltages at the two buses, then the watts will not flow on the line. Watts flow downhill from higher per unit value to a lower per unit value. So it means the bus with the higher voltage magnitude, the watts will flow from that bus to the bus which have the lower value of the voltage magnitude. Reactive power flow is similar to real power flow, that is the negative watt value indicates flow into the reference bus and positive watt value indicate the flow out of the reference bus. Again, to understand the flow of reactive power on the line, we will solve two problems. Number one, bus A has a voltage of 234 kilovolt at an angle of minus 18 degree, and bus B has a voltage of 239 kilovolt at an angle of minus 25 degrees. If the impedance of the transmission path is 45 ohms, what is the reactive power flow between the buses? Number one, and secondly, what is the direction of this reactive power flow? Now, this is a solution, and in the question, we will see that the magnitude of voltage is higher at bus number B and the magnitude of voltage is lower at bus number A. So, as per the concept of reactive power flow, the reactive power flow from downhill, that is from higher potential to lower potential. The reference bus is bus number A, but the value of voltage is higher, voltage magnitude is higher at bus number B. Therefore, the reactive power flow should flow from bus B to bus A. And we are not actually concentrating or focusing on the angles, because in case of reactive power flow, the direction of the power flow does not depend upon the angle, it depends on the voltage magnitude. So using the relation of reactive power flow, PQ is equal to VA divided by multiplied by delta V, that is the difference in the sending and receiving end voltage, divided by the line reactance X multiplied by cos delta. And now we will put the values of VA, delta V, X and cos delta. VA is equal to 239. VA is equal to 239 kilovolt. Here they have written VA. We can write 239 minus 234 divided by 45 cos delta minus 25 degree minus of minus 18 degree. Now by solving this equation, we have 239 multiplied by 5 divided by 45 cos of minus 7, and after solving this equation with the help of calculator, we have value of 26.4 MVAR. Now this is the value of reactive power flow, first of all in the A part that we have to calculate, and then now what will be the direction of the reactive power? As the value of megawatts is positive, therefore we can say that the flow of the direction of the power is from bus B to A, as the bus B voltage is higher and bus A voltage is lower than the bus B voltage. Now calculate the reactive power between bus A and bus B and its direction of flow using the following information. What is the information provided to us? Bus A voltage is 547 kilovolt at an angle of minus 15 degree with a power factor of 0.78. Bus B voltage is 544 kilovolt at an angle of minus 18 degree with a power factor of 0.81. Whereas the total impedance of the transmission line is 86 ohms. Now again, notice here that the value of voltage or the magnitude of voltage is higher at bus A and the magnitude of voltage is lower at bus B, and the angle are minus 15 and minus 18 degrees at bus A and B. Therefore, now if we will solve the example, and as per the concept of the reactive power flow, we can see from here that the flow of the direction of the reactive power should be from bus A to B. Now let us see the solution of this example. Again, using the same formula for reactive power, PQ is equal to VA delta V divided by X cos delta, and putting the values of VA and VA minus VB X cos delta here in this equation, we will end up with 547 multiplied by 3 divided by 86 into cos of 3. Now by solving this equation with the help of calculator, we have 19.07 MVAR, and the flow of direction of the power is from bus A to bus B, as the value of voltage potential is higher in bus A and it is lower in bus B. I hope the flow of reactive power is clear to you, that is in which direction the reactive power will flow. It will flow from higher potential to the lower potential side. Now we will discuss few scenarios based on our previous discussion. There is different confusions in the mind of the audience. Probably there may be any confusion in the mind of the audience. Therefore, we are now discussing with the help of few scenarios that how real and reactive power will flow. So in this case, we will discuss 7 hypothetical yet individual scenarios so that we can understand for in case of different situation what will be the flow of real and reactive power in the transmission line and what will be their directions. So scenario number 1. What is the scenario number 1? That is the voltages are in phase, that is there is no difference between the voltages, the phases of the two voltages at two buses, that is bus A and B. However, the value of the magnitude of bus A voltage is greater than bus B voltage. So this is the first scenario, that is both buses have the same phase voltages, however their magnitudes are different and bus A voltage magnitude is higher than bus B voltage. Now how the power will flow? See here in this figure, as there is no difference in the phase, therefore the reactive power will not flow on the line. However, as bus A voltage, the magnitude of bus A voltage is greater than bus B voltage, the reactive power will flow due to the difference between the voltages, and it will flow from bus A to bus B. This was the scenario number 1. Now scenario number 2. In scenario number 2, again the voltages are in phase, but bus A voltage is less than bus B voltage. Now what will happen? In this case, as again there is no phase difference between the voltages, therefore there will be no active power flow on the line. However, as the bus A voltage is lesser than bus B voltage, so the reactive power will flow and it will flow from bus B to bus A. Now scenario number 3. In scenario number 3, the voltages are not now in phase. Now in this case the voltages are not in phase, first of all, one thing. Secondly, bus A voltage is greater than bus B voltage. So if the voltages are not in phase, it means that there will be power flow. Fine. And voltages are not in phase, how and according to what phase they are not in phase? That is the value of the phase B voltage, the phasor of the V voltage is lagging the phasor of the bus A voltage. That is the bus B voltage is lagging the bus A voltage. So they are not in phase and the bus B voltage is lagging the bus A voltage. Therefore, the active power will flow and it will flow from bus A to bus B. Similarly, for reactive power, bus A voltage is greater than bus B voltage. The reactive power will also flow and it will flow from bus A to bus B. Scenario number 4. Voltages are not in phase. Bus A voltage is greater than bus B voltage. Now, how this happened? Voltages are not in phase and bus B phasor voltage is now, the phase of the bus B voltage is now leading the phase of the bus A. So if the phasor of bus B voltage is now leading the bus phasor A, now the direction of active power flow will from bus B to bus A, and the magnitude of bus A voltage is greater than bus B voltage, the reactive power will flow from bus A to bus B. Fine. Here it is written at megawatt flow, bus A voltage is lagging bus B voltage, watts flow from bus A to bus B. Scenario number 5, voltages are not in phase, bus A voltage is lesser than bus B voltage. Now, voltages are not in phase, that is the bus B voltage is lagging the bus A voltage. Now it means that the active power will flow from bus A to bus B, whereas in case of reactive power, as the bus B voltage is greater than bus A voltage, the reactive power will flow from bus B to bus A. voltages are not in phase and bus A voltage is lesser than bus B voltage. Again, in this case, bus B voltage is leading the bus A voltage. Therefore, the active power will flow from bus B to A. Similarly, bus B voltage is greater than the magnitude of bus B voltage is also greater than bus A voltage. The reactive power will also flow from bus B to bus A. Now, scenario number 7. Voltages are not in phase. Moreover, the bus A voltage is equal to bus B voltage. Now, the magnitude of voltages at two buses are equal, and we know that if the magnitude of the two buses are equal, it means that there is no voltage potential difference between the two buses, then there should not be any reactive power flow on the line. However, the voltages are not in phase. If phase A voltage lags phase B voltage, then reactive power will flow from bus B to A. If phase A voltage leads phase B voltage, then active power will flow from bus A to B. However, for megawatt or the reactive power, both the power will flow into the line and they will cancel out each other effect there, and ultimately there will be no reactive power flow on the line. So now what is the summary of this whole talk? In order to transfer real power across transmission line, there must be an angle, that is delta, not theta. This should be kept in mind. There must be an angle delta between the voltages at each end of the line, and greater the phase angle difference, more real power will be transferred, but this phase angle difference should not exceed more than 90 degree. However, practically the value of this phase angle delta is not that much high. It is kept to a low value. This is due to the stability issues in the power system. Now again, in order to transfer reactive power across transmission lines, now we are talking about the reactive power, there must be a difference between the voltage magnitudes at each end of the line. Again, greater voltage magnitude difference, more reactive power will be discussed. Now, this is all about my talk. If you have any question, you can ask me. I am here to answer your all the question. This is my contact number and this is my email ID mentioned here. And if in the future you have any question, you can email or contact me on my these contact details. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.